So it's been about a year. Welcome back to day 19 of writing in my effort to write a novel in 90 days. And we are already to day 18 for writing. This is just going by very quickly. I'm getting a lot of writing done that this is one of the most efficient projects I've ever done. And I'm very pleased with how this effort is going. So today's writing, I finished the scene yesterday with Charles telling his story and then both having a drink and then Mercer needing to go rest. So I am now going to move forward nearly a year in the same setting and see where these characters are at. And, like when we started this chapter, I believe we started it a year before. So within the chapter, we have now moved forward that time. So, let's get into the first part of day 18. And you can see I'm trying to keep the formatting simple. I just need that little marker there to know that I've made a significant scene break. Trying to start off with real descriptive, trying to paint the picture first for what this scene looks like to try to differentiate where we were before. So this is very clearly somewhere else that's happening right now instead of in that cabin. So focus on the description here. Trying hard not to get too deep into Mercer's point of view and still have it be an observer third person point of view with him, but every once in a while I do take his point of view. And I wanted here there to look very different. I wanted there to be a garden where they had grown food and like enough time had passed where things like that had happened. And here they're talking about the message, the container that Mercer found when they were attacked and he fled. And so he's been here this whole time with this message that really is the focus of the story once we get to a present time. So this is still before the events in the first chapter, but not far behind. And so this is them discussing what he's going to do with that, because we know Mercer doesn't stay here. And so they're just telling a little bit about what was in the message. I think I share it here. I was uncertain about how much to reveal about what this message is. And now I know what it is. I know how it's going to play a role in the story later. When I first started writing, I really didn't know what this thing was that he was carrying. I just needed there to be something of significance that he had. And I've decided what that is now. And that being orders, basically directions for this group of outlaws to first pretend to be Union soldiers, to then attack Confederate soldiers, to then pretend to be those Confederate soldiers and go sack a small town in Kansas, like Mercer's did in Lawrence, which is a real event. So that's what that package is. Here they are discussing what to do with that message, what Mercer should do if he wants to do anything at all. That's the push of the next day or so's worth of writing, is how does Mercer come to a decision to take action with this message. So let's finish up day 18 and see what happens. I mean, you got to imagine somebody that's gone through what guys like this have gone through aren't really trying to go out and find trouble necessarily if they found some measure of peace. And so that's really the decision that Mercer has to make is he going to go face this thing, which could mean more violence, more trouble, things like that. And so I like this little vision that Charles has of his future, where he's got together with the local girl from town, and he envisions himself taking care of the homestead and them making Angora wool together. Just seemed like a fun thing. And so I wanted him to share that vision of his future. And so here, yeah, so they're having a very pleasant conversation. It seems like I wanted this to be very naturalized at this point, where they talk to each other often, and it just be easy for them. And so here, some descriptions. Here's the chestnut mare again, and we see Mercer getting ready to go into town. Really just trying to keep the description fresh and clean and still accurate to what Missouri woods might be like. And I wanted them to be off a less traveled path, so it's plausible that nobody would really know that they're there. So that was a good introduction to closer to present time. Still telling the story of the past. Again, this plot structure I'm using jumps all over the time frame of this story. But we have now gone from the past to what's closer to the present time in this story. So I liked what happened here. I was able to share Charles's vision for his future, which is going to play a role later, even in this chapter. And I'm realizing as I'm going through this portion here, and I'll definitely make the realization in the session tomorrow, that I didn't foreshadow enough. I'm like I plant this seed and then try to harvest it way too soon. So I'm going to have to adjust to that later, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So for today, let's get to the line of today. Sunlight reflected off of the water's surface, between the small breaks and waves, like the lake was dancing in the sun and wind that touched it. I like this because it's a descriptive sentence that uses a little metaphor and personification of the waters of the lake, like the water dancing is a nice image and metaphor for what he might see here, and lending itself to the more peaceful aspect of what life is for him in this moment. So that's the line of today. And tomorrow, I'm going to bring Mercer into town and have the interaction there, and that way we can see the world outside of this little cabin that he's been living in for a year. So looking forward to that. I'm curious how you treat transitions like this, where you have a year pass or a significant amount of time pass between one scene and the next. Like, what are your techniques for managing that? So tomorrow we'll get into that story with Mercer. If you're enjoying these videos, like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm James Winterthorn. You can check me out.